Earth's atmosphere consists of about 78% nitrogen and 21% oxygen. It's easy then to think the rest doesn't really matter.
In that mix of nitrogen and oxygen are what we call trace gases, and they're there in really small quantities.
But those small quantities can have a big impact on our health, climate, and environment.
What matters is kind of the molecular structure of them, and so what their chemical reactivity is.
Associate Professor Jenny Fisher is an atmospheric chemist. Her complex computer models help us understand what we can't always see.
There are kind of a lot of different players, and they're all interacting kind of chemically at once. Some of them will last for microseconds in the atmosphere. Some things like CO2 will last for decades.
One of those players is mercury.
Mercury is a pretty potent neurotoxin.
Mercury levels are now much higher in the atmosphere than before the Industrial Revolution. That's led to more mercury in our oceans, meaning it can end up in our seafood.
In humans, it leads to developmental effects on IQ. It can have effects even in adults on the cardiovascular system.
Associate Professor Fisher identified that seasonal pulses in atmospheric mercury were driven by the spring thawing of massive rivers in the Arctic. But her models can also track other pollutants, such as the smoke from Sydney's bushfires in 2019.
Air pollution is actually a really big global health concern.
It was her experience with pollution in California that motivated her to study atmospheric chemistry in the first place.
Some days you would go outside and have this beautiful view of the mountains, and other days you would go outside and you could barely see them.
Associate Professor Fisher points out that addressing climate change will also help reduce air pollution. Fewer coal-fired power plants, for example, means not just less CO2, but less smog. Her contribution to the earth sciences has seen Associate Professor Fisher awarded the Anton Hales Medal.
I feel especially honored, I think, to be one of the few women who have received the award, to be able to be a face for that, and hopefully to make people think in future about nominating their women colleagues and their non-binary colleagues for these kinds of awards.